You're listening to Folk Scene. I'm Alan Larmen. Today's special guest is celebrated singer-songwriter Leslie Mendelson. Her most recent album is entitled After the Party. Before we begin our conversation, let's hear a selection from this release. The name of this song is The Good Life. This is Leslie Mendelson on Folk Scene.
Won't you cut yourself some slack? Pour yourself a drink. 'Cause when you're feeling at your worst, you're doing better than you think. When you can't get out of bed 'cause you haven't slept a wink, and your time is running out, and left the dishes in the sink. Any day now it'll come around, when the world turns upside down, inside out makes you crazy. Don't worry, baby, everything will be alright. And if I ever had the chance to do it all again, I wouldn't change it. So pour me a drink, pass me a light. Here's to the good life. Here's to the good life. All the stars are out tonight. Who knows what's round the bend? May the music never die. Let the party never end. Any day now it'll come around, when the world turns upside down, inside out makes you crazy. But don't worry, baby, everything will be alright. And if I ever have a chance to do it all again, I wouldn't change it. So pour me a drink, pass me a light. Here's to the good life. Here's to the good life. Here's to the good life. Let's go out tonight. Let the party never end. Here's to the good life.
That was our guest, Leslie Mendelson on Folk Scene. Her most recent album, After the Party, we heard The Good Life. Leslie, where are you coming to us from today?
I am in my apartment in Brooklyn.
And how did you come to write that song, The Good Life?
Oh, all right. So I was actually sitting in this room. My co-writer, Steve McEwen, and I, he had a great first lyric, and we were trying to figure out kind of a rhythm and a melody to it. And I think it really reminded me of a feeling like I'm a big Glenn Campbell fan. Like I love 70s country music, Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson, but I really love Glenn Campbell and Jimmy Webb, like their partnership and the stuff that they did together. And it felt like it had a bit of that vibe to it. So we kind of went in that direction of kind of tipping our hat to that like 70s country genre.
And tell us about Steve McEwen. He's your collaborator on all your songs.
Yeah, we've been working together for a while. He's one of those, I always call it like a 9 to 5 or like songwriter, but it's not 9 to 5. It's like, yeah, later than that. But yeah, and he's had a lot of hits within the country world and outside of it. I always say from Chris Stapleton to Eminem. But we've been working together for a long time, and then it's a great partnership we have.
And how'd you two hook up?
In New York, through a friend, he came to New York City, and I think we just met in a bar. I think there was a band of, of playing. They were called the Skirt Chasing Drunks. It was a bunch of friends in a cover band. And we just hit it off. I think he came to see me at the living room and he was doing some stuff. And then we're like, yeah, let's try to write a song together. And then we wound up putting the songs together for my first album that was released in 2009, Swan Feathers. And that was nominated for a Grammy. So yeah.
Now, he produced most of this new album with Peter Asher. How did Peter Asher get into the picture?
Well, they were friends through the Grammy board, and I was ready to make my new record. And I think we were at a dinner together, and after dinner, he actually asked Steve and me if we wanted to go hear Susanna Hoff's new record because he produced that, and I'm a huge Bangles fan, so I said I'd love to, and it sounded great, and I think we just asked him if he'd be interested in producing some songs. And, we sent him a bunch of stuff we were working on, this collection for After the Party. And he said he'd love to do it. So we did a chunk of the record with him. We also worked with another LA producer, Tyler Chester, who's fantastic. And he's worked with Madison Cunningham and just a bunch of artists. And so when it came time to actually putting the record together, I had some songs from Tyler and then more songs with Peter, but they all work together. So we wound up just putting it together and making one big album.
Now, musicians that play on this album are kind of like your dream team. Tell us about them.
Well, that's exactly how it happened. I was talking to Peter and he was like, who do you want to work with? And I said, well, can we just get the guys that have been on my favorite albums? So we got Leland Sklar and Jim Keltner and then Waddy Wachtel, who I actually knew already because he and my dad went to high school together in Jackson Heights, Queens. And they were friends. And then, they'd lost touch for years, but through the magic of Facebook or something, they became friends again. He knew him and he's like Uncle Waddy, he's just been great. And, but we never got to work together. So when we were putting this together, it just made sense to ask him. And sure enough, he did. And he's playing on the song we just listened to, The Good Life, and a bunch of other stuff. And he's just, yeah, it's a dream team, We're
visiting Leslie Mendelson on Folk Scene. Her new release came out last year. We're going to listen to a couple more tracks from this album, and then we'll come back and we'll speak some more. First up, Rock and Roll on the Radio and Signs of the Life from her album After the Party. This is Leslie Mendelson on Folk Scene.
Why don't they play rock and roll on the radio anymore? 'Cause I love the sound of it. Sitting in the kitchen thinking that I might get stoned. I know you're out there somewhere hoping you'll pick up the phone. Wanting you to tell me everything will be alright. There's still signs of life. Last time that I saw you, you were dead between the eyes. Last time that I held you, you were frozen cold as ice. All I wanna know is that our love is still alive. There's still signs of life. Heard they found some evidence on Mars, living and breathing. Wish that I could find it here on Earth, beneath this ceiling. Some kind of feeling. Or am I dreaming? I don't trust the government, the empire made of stone. I've been banging on the door, is there anybody home? I've been looking to the stars to find a little light. And any sign of life. Heard they found some evidence on Mars, living and breathing. Wish that I could find it here on Earth, beneath this ceiling. Some kind of feeling. Or am I dreaming? I've been looking to the stars to find a little light. Any sign of life. Any sign of life. There's still signs of life.
That was Leslie Mendelson on Folk Scene from her most recent album from last year, entitled After the Party. We heard Rock and Roll on the Radio and Signs of Life. What was the impetus for those songs, Leslie?
Big swings here. Okay. Well, So, rock and roll on the radio, it's really just a feel good song. I do tip my hat to the feeling and freedom of rock and roll radio, growing up. There's a lot less stations now, but it's also just, like when you get into a car and you turn on the radio and you do find that station that's just you just feels good. And it's harder these days, but they still exist like you. And Signs of Life is well, I always call this part of like the psychedelic part of the record. These three songs, "Keep a Little Light On," "Signs of Life," and "My Own Worst Enemy" were the ones that Tyler produced, and these songs go together. And this was that "Signs of Life," though, was the first song I think I wrote during the pandemic. I don't think I'd seen anyone for a while, and it was just a little call out of like, "Is there anybody out there?" As Pink Floyd would say. And it's also I love David Bowie and just that kind of bit of glam rock and spaciness. It's always been an inspiration to me. But yeah, this record really covers a lot of ground. I mean, I feel like it's a celebration of all the music that I love.
Now, you grew up in a musical household. You briefly mentioned your father. Tell us how he influenced your music.
Well, he's a trumpet player. When I was growing up, he was a teacher and also conducted jazz band like in the high school. And we had a really good sound system, turntable, hi-fi system growing up. So everything just sounded really good. We had a piano. I kind of learned how to I had a good ear when I was a kid. I later got into lessons, which I hated, but just wanted to do my own thing. But I had a really good ear, so I would just go and listen to songs and figure them out. I remember one of the first records that was given to me because I loved the Beatles was Abbey Road. And I just remember hearing that dun, 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 and it just coming out of the speakers. It just sounded incredible. Like you could like feel it. It was so visceral and tactile, I should say. Visceral is not probably the right word. So it was just music was we played it. It was just around. I would sit at the piano with my dad too, and we would just improvise. He would just play, and I would play, and yeah, those kind of vivid memories of being able to play. And now we still do. We have a family band with my cousins whenever we get together for the holidays. We're still at it.
And did you know early on you want to be a musician?
I didn't know what I wanted to be, but I knew that music was good for me. As a kid, I found solace in it. I leaned on it when I had feelings that I didn't, growing up as a teenager is awful. And so I just feel like music was there for me. Felt like I can do this. I didn't know I could really do it professionally until because I taught and I did odd jobs throughout my 20s. And then I think I really took a stab at it, you know, a little bit later, like in my late 20s. I was like, yeah, you know what? I can. And that's, when things started to happen.
Now, how'd you wind up in the funk group Mother Freedom?
That just kind of came out of being on Long Island. I was in college and just meeting people. It was like the first time I heard the Grateful Dead. And even though I missed that bus because Jerry had died already, but I loved the music and I feel like it was a big scene on Long Island and we weren't like that jammy, but jam adjacent, I'd say. We were more of like a rock and roll band. I feel like when I joined, they were doing like Rolling Stones and Southern rock and stuff like that, just English and Southern rock. And then the lead singer was already writing songs, and then I came in and we started to write together. I brought songs in as well, and it just became a little bit more of like R&B funk outfit. It kind of like morphed into that. Yeah, we had a little run. It was really fun. It was a good band. But then I moved to the city, so I kind of got more into like folk and more Americana. I feel like I wanted to concentrate a little bit more on that kind of songwriting. So that's when I moved to the city and got more into a songwriting circle.
We're visiting Leslie Mendelson on Folk Scene. Let me tell you, she'll be appearing at McCabe's on October 25th. McCabe's, of course, 3101 Peagle Boulevard in Santa Monica. McCabe's.com. Let's go to more tracks right now, and we'll come back and we'll pick up the conversation again. First up, the title song off her most recent album, After the Party, and then a duet with Jackson Browne, A Human Touch. This is Leslie Mendelson on Folk Scene.
party's not over. Jukebox is playing Crimson and Clover, and I don't wanna go home. After the party, take out our cameras. People posing for pictures, make it look like we're glamorous, and I don't wanna go home. No, I don't wanna go home. And I wanna stay out. Don't wanna give in. I'm out of my head. Sleep when I'm dead. Sleep when I'm dead. After the party, I wanna keep walking. Cross the bridge into Brooklyn. Never stop talking, 'cause I don't wanna go home. No, I don't wanna be alone. And I wanna stay out. Don't wanna give in. I'm out of my head. Sleep when I'm dead. 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 The party's not over when I'm dead. After the party, let's stay together. Hold on tight to me, baby, forever and ever. You can call it a decision. I say it's how we're made. There's no point in shouting from your island, proclaiming only Jesus saves. There will always be suffering, and there will always be pain. But because of it, there'll always be love, and love we know it will remain. Everybody gets lonely, feel like it's all too much. Reaching out for some connection, or maybe just their own reflection. Sometimes all anybody needs is a human touch. Everybody wants a holiday. Everybody wants to feel the sun. Get outside and run around. Live like they're forever young. Everybody wants to be beautiful and live life their own way. No one ever wants to let it go, no matter what they do or say. Everybody gets lonely, feel like it's all too much. Reaching out for some connection, or maybe just their own reflection. Not everybody finds it, not like the two of us. Sometimes all anybody needs is a human touch. Sometimes all anybody needs is a human touch. Everybody gets lonely, feel like it's all too much. Reaching out for some connection, or maybe it's just their own reflection. Not everybody finds it, not like the two of us. Sometimes all anybody needs is a human touch. Sometimes all anybody needs is a human touch.
That was our guest Leslie Mendelson on Focusing, a duet with Jackson Brown called The Human Touch, and the title song off her 2023 release, After the Party, on Royal Potato Family. Now, that Jackson Brown song, that was done for a documentary?
Yeah, the documentary is called 5B. It's about the beginning, like the early 80s, beginning of the AIDS epidemic, and 5B was the first dedicated AIDS ward in San Francisco General. And we had this opportunity. I met Paul Haggis, the director, at a house concert. He came up to me after my set and said, I really like your originals. And I'm looking for something for my movie. I'm trying to get Jackson Brown involved. Would you want to collaborate with him maybe? I'm like, okay. And it happened. And we finished the song in New York. We recorded it in Santa Monica, actually, where I did After the Party. And it plays over the end credits of the movie. And it was just, working with him was a dream because he's one of my early influences. I think These Days was one of the first songs I learned to play on guitar. And then he put it on his latest record, which was really exciting. So I'm very honored, and it's just wonderful to have a song on one of his records.
The name of that album is Downhill from Everywhere.
That's right.
And give us some background on the song After the Party.
That was inspired by a Warhol picture of the same name. If you could picture it, if you don't know it, it's a table, it's disheveled, like empty plates and glasses and ashtrays. And I was just looking at that picture. I have a knockoff, nothing, nothing real, but thinking about that time in New York, and I was thinking I wanted to be at that party, and who would be at that party, and I just wrote a song about it. Very, it feels very like I tried to make it of that time, even just kind of nodding to like Crimson and Clover, and just very New York City vibe. That song.
And tell us about working with late producer Joel Dorn, how that happened.
I was working on something, and he was working at a mastering studio, DB Plus, with Gene Paul, Les Paul's son, actually. And he was listening to some songs I was doing, and he's just like, hey, kid, you want to make a record? He was really old school. He came out of Philly. He was a DJ, but, he produced some of the greatest albums of all time, like Roberta Flack, Killing Me Softly, and Donny Hathaway, Bette Midler's first record, Dr. John. I mean, the list goes on. He's a legend. And we wound up doing some stuff together that wound up getting me signed to Disc, that first record label, my first record deal. And yeah, he was funny and irreverent, and I miss him every day.
We're visiting Leslie Mendelson on Folk Scene, her most recent release, After the Party. Let's go to a track right now, and then we'll come back and we'll speak some more. But we're going to go to a song from her 2017 release, Love and Murder. This song is called Jericho. It's Leslie Mendelson on Folk Scene.
It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time gone. Nothing we can do to stop it. No, we can't go on. Such a lonely winter, dark as a cold new moon. Everything we gotta do now, we gotta do it soon. Going round and round, trying to get back to another world. To Jericho, where the sun used to shine. You and I are looking for a heart of gold. Oh, Jericho. Black Sea sounding like the best thing we ever heard. Remember how we'd hang our hearts on a nylon string? It was all we ever needed. It was everything. We're going round and round, trying to get back to another world. Jericho, where the sun used to shine on you and I, looking for a heart of gold. Oh, Jericho, we're going round and round, trying to get back to another world. We're trying to get back. Jericho.
That was our guest, Leslie Mendelson of Folk Scene. And the song was Jericho from her album Love and Murder from 2017. How'd you come to write that one, Leslie?
Well, this was the first record I had released after many years of not releasing. I had a bunch of false starts. I had, made records, never came out. And so that song was hanging around for a bit. And I met a producer, Mark Howard, who was just like, he kind of came out of the blue. He contacted me and liked my voice and wanted to do something. So I was just sending him a few demos and we wound up making a joke because they all like there's a song called Murder Me and he's like, this is your murder ballad album. I always make a joke and say, this is from my album Love and Murder. It's for the kids. But it's actually not that heavy of a record. But yeah, Jericho just feels like a very just spiritual, serene song. It's a bit esoteric, but I love singing it to this day. It's a pretty important song in my set. I rarely leave it out.
Now, someone else you worked with was Bob Weir of the Grateful Dead. You recorded a duet of Blue Bayou. How did you come to work with Bob Weir?
I was living in London for a couple of years and I was playing a show and I was working with the management of The Who. This relationship still goes on today. I actually opened for The Who last week in Philly and Atlantic City. They called me. It was a little last minute, but I did it. Just a casual Wednesday playing for 20,000. It was no big deal. But I was working with them and Justin Kreutzmann, who's the son of the drummer from the Grateful Dead, Bill Kreutzmann. Justin was doing a documentary on Pete Townsend, and he came to my show, and he, I think, saw a Relics like in office thing I did with Pete Shapiro, where I was singing "Friend of the Devil," and so he shouted it out. I'm like, "What? We're in London. Nobody listens to Grateful Dead." And then we wound up talking, and he was just like, "You should come and do this thing at TRI, which is Bob's studio in Marin County." It was about, I don't know, maybe 10 plus years ago. It was a web series called We're Here. And they invited me on and they did a few sets. And in between sets, they would do this David Letterman type interview. And Bob would sit at the desk and his guest, me, and I think it was Steve Parrish, the tour manager, and Dave Schools from Widespread Panic. So I look like a tiny person next to these two like mountain men, but you could catch it. And we did a bunch of songs. We did some of my stuff. We did Grateful Dead stuff. We did covers, and it was just wonderful. And I a lot of great partnerships came out of that. Steve Kimmock is somebody I wound up working with, and Dave Schools and Jason Crosby. It was just a wonderful band, and I think I was just hanging around, and I was talking to Bob. Blue Bayou, the Roy Orbison song, is one of my favorites. He said, I love that song. And I wound up singing it with him in the studio, and it went on my record, Love and Murder.
Now, you're not a solitary songwriter, is that right?
Well, I do write a lot with Steve McHugh, and even, just he's just been a great partner for years.
What was it like writing with Jackson Brown?
He was wonderful. He was gracious, strong opinions, though. And I think that Steve and Jackson spent hours talking about a word, one word, because it was important, and I feel like, I mean, Jackson's such a brilliant lyricist. And, I contributed a little bit. I mean, I went along for the ride mostly for that one. I just got to sing it and add my on here or there. But, they really took care of a lot of the lyrics and oh, I don't know, just to see him work was great and it was just a good collaboration.
Are you a disciplined songwriter? Do you write often?
Nope. No, I'm actually struggling because I realize how hard it is and it gets harder. I feel like I think about this a lot. And especially there's a song I have called The Hardest Part where it's kind of talks about childhood, or I sing about it, where I feel like you're a lot more open to inspiration as a kid, or it comes easier. And I feel like because we aren't so worried about making mistakes and putting things out there, and we lose that a little bit as we get older. So that's my song about trying to like just keep myself open and not too judgmental, because I can be very judgmental. That's why I think it took me so long to put out a record in that interim of like 2009 and 17, because it's just like, but I think letting go and letting just things be, because I just feel like we are our harshest critics. But I am working on some new songs. I actually just feel like I tapped into something yesterday for the first time. And it's just like I have to, tie myself to a chair because I don't have that discipline, like, because I'm not a working songwriter. I just really write for myself. So, but it's time. And I always feel like I need a little bit of fire under my ass to like get myself going. And the fact that, like, yeah, it's time to work on a new record. That's it. It's like, let's go. And so, just trying to figure out, well, what style, this and that, it's a lot to think about, but I don't know. I feel like something happened and I feel like a little bit open right now. So I'm going to take advantage of that. And probably after we get off this call, I will get back to it.
And how did you begin writing songs?
When I was 14, like I said earlier, I learned the whole entire Beatles songbook. I had this really great Bantam collection that was given to me by my aunt who worked for Bantam Books. And it was the whole catalog. And I would just, listen to records. And so I knew the chords because I could read chords and figuring that out by ear. And so I just like feel like the Beatles like taught me how to like song structure. So I basically just copied that. And I just remember, I don't know, was inspired by something that made me go to the piano and write my first song, which was, oh God, the lyrics are so funny. It's like, I've only two eyes to see you. I've only two hands to carry the weight. I've only 2 ears to hear you calling my name. But even though I only have one heart to spare, don't worry, I'll always be there. I'll always be there. And, off to the races.
What kind of plans do you have for this next record?
Like I was just saying, like I'm just starting now and I'm trying to figure out exactly what that is right now. It's a little early to tell, but I feel like I have a classic style where I just, want songs to feel like they've existed, but I don't want them to be too much of a throwback. You still want the production to be modern. So somewhere in that classic modern world.
We're visiting with Leslie Mendelson, folksy. Remind you, her website is lesliemendelson.com. She'll be appearing at McCabe's, 3101 Pico Boulevard in Santa Monica on October 25th, mccabes.com, or you can go to her website, lesliemendelson.com. And the night before, you were at the Warren Zevon tribute. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah. Going to be singing a Warren song with the band. And I'm very much looking forward to that. There's some good artists. So Jackson's going to be on it, and Marshall Crenshaw. And I think there's a bunch of people. I can't think right now.
Sheeter Jennings,
Yeah, yeah,
Fountains and Wayne.
yes.
And that takes place at the United Theater, downtown Los Angeles, 929 South Broadway in Los Angeles. You can go to the wildhoneyfoundation.com website and find out more information about that as well. We're going to close out with your track entitled The Hardest Part. You want to give us some details about that song?
Well, I was telling you about it earlier about being able to like kind of open up as an artist. I can keep that childlike sense about writing. But this is from an album called If You Can't Say Anything Nice, which is you know, sit next to me. But no, I always say you could say anything to me though. I'm an equal opportunity offender. But yeah, this song is off that album. And there is a quote I didn't mention before when I was talking about the song that Picasso said, all children are artists, born artists, I should say. All children are born artists. And I really do like to get back into that headspace where you have that freedom without worrying about mistakes.
And also, too, Leslie records for Royal Potato Family, greatest record label name I think that's out there.
That's right. Shout out Kevin Calabro.
And let's go right now and close out with this song we just mentioned, The Hardest Part. But Leslie, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. Look forward to seeing you at the show.
Here's Leslie Mendelson on Focusing with The Hardest Part.
To those who believe in the things they cannot see, may God provide you everything you need. Good or bad, right or wrong, and nothing in between. end is there to justify the means. Well, I wish I never knew what I now understand, and why every grain of truth is slipping through my head. And I'm just always trying to get back to the start. Letting go is the hardest part. To those who never dwell on their own mortality, hopeful even drifting out to sea. To those who forget what's now a distant memory, and the simple fact that history repeats, it repeats. Well, I wish I never knew what I now understand, and why every grain of truth is slipping through my head. And I'm just always trying to get back to the start. Letting go is the hardest part. Try to remember the way my mother sang, and how to the Lord she used to pray, and what makes her makes me who I am. If only she could help chase those demons away. Start letting go, letting go is the hardest part.
You've been listening to Folk Scene. Today's very special guest, Leslie Mendelson. I'm Alan Larmen. This program was produced by Peter Cutler.